the best in the world. There's only going to be one winner out of these 15 teams. There's one. There's 14 that are going home without winning this tournament. That's the reality.
As you say, Tim, insufferably positive at points. It's probably a great way to describe you and your general demeanor. But let's see what gets on Clubhouse. NIP returning here after their bruising late last night against Damwon Kia in that double dosage bill of smackdown that the APAC team laid onto LATAM. First ban coming through is going to be the Monty, a target ban here coming in against Hungary. Yep,
they're having absolutely none of that play. They saw enough of it yesterday, I think, Des, against Damwon Kia.
That's very true. I mean, Damwon Kia, as we've seen a couple of times, have been using it in a couple of cheeky ways, but it's mainly been Cyclops who have been doing a lot more of the work. Bullying people with Anaton, people peeking around the back of the shield, all the kind of glorious stuff that has netted them a few cheeky kills throughout the competition. Thatcher, no big surprise to see that taken away. As mentioned earlier on, it was Lycan who said to me, the coach of SSG, that it just gives you a bit more control. You feel like things are a bit more favourable on your side rather than just having an EMP wanged in towards your defensive line and suddenly every gadget has been disabled. Next ban, maybe a mirror coming through here. And Wamai, been a very popular ban throughout the competition, in which case I expect that maybe NIP will be the ones to bring out the mirror ban.
They certainly could do. I mean, you know, I mentioned the Monty play yesterday. Obviously, that was largely on the side of Psycho, but the clash play that Damwon Kia brought was also a bit of a problem for them. Now then, they are going to take the mirror, so that is going to leave us plenty of scope here with Valkyrie still on the board and a number of others. All hard breaches are available. This is going to be a fascinating game, I would expect. So I think we are just about getting back into it. I can see the action in front of us is ticking down. The operators are being picked, so we will get back into that game. Round one, it's going to be G2 starting off on the attack, and they are going to be attacking down into the basement. It's going to be Church and Arsenal.
Indeed, it shall be. In terms of the actual setup they've got coming through, not seeing like a Mute Mozzie style setup suggesting an SSG roam, but I am seeing things that could suggest towards it a little here. Psycho playing on the Legion, Muzi of course on the Jaeger. May see him challenging early on up towards Blue, but normally stepping behind, back down by Generator is the go-to. One thing I've begun to notice now across 3 different teams here at the Major, I commented on this rotation here inside of Blue, the one that goes across into Church yesterday. Most teams normally do it on the second panel from the top, but yesterday we saw how Damwon Kia stung, I think it was G2 when they played against them with it. Previously it was one a bit further down, maybe it's more of a BDS thing, so I was very used to seeing them do it before, but it's a small tweaks on where the rotations are made can have a massive impact in terms of what sight lines get exposed.
A little bit of attention paid towards the top floor from NIP. Then they do have the mute of Pino, but I wouldn't expect them to be completely committing up there. We can see that Pino is on the top floor, but we've got Julio on the Kaid at least downstairs. Pino's actually going to return very quickly as well, so not maybe holding on to top floor, sorry, all too hard and fast. Just looking to maybe waste a little bit of time, but just searching out for silhouettes. I think everybody is pretty much returning towards site. It's going to be a turtle defense from NIP. Plenty of time for G2 to do what they need to do.
And like you say, I think for them it will be that kind of dug back down on site, but G2 still focusing on the full map clear because you just don't know who it is that you're going to be running into here. Only one currently leading to start and poke off slight ever so slightly is Psycho. Kind of surprised in a way because for NIP, when I think of a good number of, well, a good few of the LATAM teams, you know, that early aggression is not maybe as strong as what you'd see out of APAC in terms of the commitment to the style, but we have seen a good few getting quite aggressive in the early round. But I remember you saying to me, Tim, when we spoke about them, I think it was on the one broadcast that I did of LATAM with you at some point, you said, you know, NIP, you asked them a couple of times, you know, why are you guys so slow? Why are things drawing to a halt? And they said, well, you know, we're working on it. Do you think that's still something that you're seeing coming out of them now when they are still quite a slow team? Or do you think you're seeing a bit of a step up in pace that's working out for them?
I think it's something that they've certainly addressed, but is it a characteristic that they can still suffer from? Yeah, I think it is, because the thing is they addressed the issue, but you've got to think about the point they were addressing it from. We're talking about executions in the last 10 or 15 seconds. They've improved that, but sometimes it's still the last 20, 25 seconds. It's not, you know, that they're going in there with a minute left. So there's still plenty of room for error, and when it does go wrong, you don't don't have that opportunity to go again now. Talking about errors, Citizen just catching the window for him there with a couple of X-Kairos pellets. This battle continues over kitchen hatch with Psycho using impact nades to trick them out. Muzi finds one onto Kayak. Psycho's going to take a ton of damage underneath the hatch there. Dip away, and that's going to be G2 opening up the kitchen.
I'm able to get away with this one as well. It will get one side opened up now. Psycho, if you really fancy challenging it, could step forward and go for the open. But with how much of this floor has been ripped to shreds, the last thing you want to do is step forward and find yourself being headshot. So I think a good choice made. But look how much time they've wasted. 30 seconds on the clock for G2. We've now got the drop coming in from Yonker as he works his way up oil here. Seeing what he can find. They've got that long angle set up and you can see the limitations in sight lines. Can't see the man playing in front of the cabinet inside of church. Muzi takes a bit of a shot, but can't quite get anything back on the other way. Yonker's still at full HP. Virtue finding one as Pino strikes back elsewhere around the map. The shotgun comes out from Pino and finds yet another. A 4 versus 2. And NIP with about 5 seconds on the clock have got enough to keep this one going. Pino finds the 3K. NIP comfortably taking round number 1.
Well, we asked questions about their own results, and that is the thing. You've got to remember Dark Zero are playing that pivotal game against Dan1 Kia last thing of the day. They're going to play NIP before that. So if NIP beat G2 now and then beat Dark Zero, the pressure is massively on Dark Zero in that Dan1 Kia game because they know if they lose, that's it. They're done. They're not going to make it through. So NIP just need to do everything they can to pile the pressure on.
That's it, right? Stack it up while you can. Keep G2 sweating here. I mean, for G2, it's been a slow day. Comments on their attacks earlier on that we had were these things are looking a bit slow here, guys. A little bit painful to watch at times. But they're almost finding themselves stalling out. And I don't know if it's motivation or things have just really dropped off for them as they realized the mammoth task that stood before them or whatever it might be. Clearly, though, there is a lot of work they can go away and do over the break before Stage 3 gets underway in a few weeks' time. But Gym and Bedroom, the site that we step into, and someone needs to give the memo out to NIP. No one is playing Frost anymore. Everyone is playing Alibi. 1.5 good, no 1.5 bad. Of course, I'm joking. On this site, very, very viable because of the windows and everywhere else that you can vault through. However, more teams, as we do keep on saying, are stepping in towards playing onside with the Alibi because she has the 1.5 times scope now.
This isn't looking to make sure that his path is clear to come in from garage and start challenging. He's going to find Julio inside of Cash. Going to try to hold on to that for as long as possible. I imagine he'll have one. That Muzi out on the Cash stairs as well. And Muzi and Pino keep hitting shots. This could be a very short day for G2. We've just seen Dan1 Kia beat them 7-2, and they are two players that can just run away with a matchup. Now, the Maverick of Kayak is going to start opening up that east breach, which is going to allow G2 to start moving in. Not terrible in terms of timing so far. Hungry's going to use the asphyxiation arrow there to move the man from the top of the Cash stairs. Citizen managing to get the kill, but traded out by Julio. So not a terrible start for G2. One death, one kill, and access to the side of Cash at least.
Absolutely. I mean, the opening kill for either side going into a 4 versus 4. It's war of the extended hole, one that we're so used to seeing, Tim, as well. A very common one. Kayak stopping up inside of Cash with a bit of support on the longer range angles, and Muzi saying, look, I'm here to fight you tooth and nail over this line in the sand, this line in the wall that you've drawn out with the blowtorch. They see the feet, but can't quite get the angle to spray Muzi down. That's a wicked headshot onto Yonka. One more stepping around to the right. He knows that he's here now as well, but G2, they're getting stalled out here and bleeding members in the process. A second one coming in for Muzi. Crouch height. Kayak wasn't ready. 4 versus 2 and 70 seconds to play. This one is looking all up NIP.
2 kills from Muzi on the same doorway there. Almost unforgivable. Third on the round. Julio picks up Hungry in the midst. This time instead of Muzi and Pino.
For G2, it is lacking that zip and bite that we've seen for them a couple of times. I mean, look back again at the results that they've had previously with that 7-4 victory over NIP. Where's the zip that we saw on Cafe, the thing that gave them the edge over NIP? We haven't seen it in those first 2 rounds, and I do hope it appears, because we do still want to see a good contest.
Of course we do. You know, we don't want to see any team running away with any matchup. It's always difficult in the late stages of tournaments, particularly where you've got a group phase. There is inevitably, and this is true of any esport, any traditional sport, there's inevitably going to be situations where teams don't have anything really to play for anymore because the progress through the tournament has been dealt with out of the group stages. But G2, like you say, they want a bit of pride, they want to take the opportunity, but it's going to be difficult to find the same level of motivation as NIP. Muzi, he's absolutely ram-packed full of motivation right now. 5-0 in the opening 2 rounds. Look at how he's getting aggressive now. He's playing that Valkyrie and he's just going to try and put that MPX to use to keep anybody out of that garage door.
Aggression might be the play. Keep G2 at bay. Keep him guessing. Say 1 roam a day. We'll keep G2 away. Or 1 roam around in this case is how things stepping up. Extended hold in that prior one was the big one. This one here is backed away to be a little bit more passive along the lines of what we saw back in round 1. Kayak getting to work on the old Muzi. Oh, what is this? That's cheeky. Doesn't quite find a shot. That town that you heard was Kayak running into the electric over anything else. But now that he knows he's being challenged, he needs to be a little bit wary. Good for Muzi, I think, there to drop away. But surely they want someone back up there sooner rather than later to be able to hold up on the catwalk if that's going to be their focus. Instead, drops down through oil and he is out of there.
That's going to be the problem for G2 with Muzi here. If he starts hitting shots, he's one of those players that will get more aggressive as he gets more confident. And as he does, he'll miss fewer and fewer shots. That just goes to say he wasn't even particularly shooting at anybody. He just nearly got very lucky there as it was Yonker who moved across the front of the door and a stray bullet could have been all it took. Now, Julio coming up. I think he's going to have a nitro in hand as well. It's again another bit of a NIP special here, liking to get in the oil pit and launch out those nitros to try and take it down. There's potentially a bit of information going to be coming back in from Muzi as to just exactly where this push is going on. He's still up on the catwalk so he can feed information to Julio and just say, look, hit main door. They're pushing there now and we could see a big play coming out from Kaid.
T4 in hand as well, comes up out towards the door. Not quite the way they wanted it to go. If that had gone through the doorway, potentially a double kill waiting with his name on it. Not going to connect in this spot though, but the contest over garage is starting to slowly slide the way of G2 with Muzi being taken off the board. Kayak, he's down to look at him. 1 HP on side. Surely you can blow on him and he'll fall over at this point, Tim. But it's Psycho to be the first to fall. Kayak closing out the kill. Smoke's coming through. Kamikaze bringing one back over. Look at the low health bars on the side of G2, Tim. 2 or 3 bullets and this round could be done.
Julio's just biding his time here. Look at that for trigger discipline. Manages to down 1. Not going to be able to find the kill and has to dip away. The problem is, how long is it going to take him to get back to site? There's only 2 left alive for NIP, but there's only 12 seconds left to go. Kayak finds a kill onto Kamikaze. Virtue onto Pino. They need to get that diffuser into site because otherwise the time will tick down. They won't be able to. The final kill comes in. Kayak predicts exactly where Julio is going to re-emerge from after that battle in oil pit, and G2 managed to get themselves the first round in CCTV and cash room.
Real war over the garage there as well was the big focus right from the word go, with Kayak starting to open the wall, Muzi getting pretty aggressive. Touch back on that C4 that we didn't see connect onto anyone. Had that got through the door, potentially a different conversation to be having. But even with all those low HP blinkering health bars on the side of G2, still walk away, they do the job, they get the first round. What slightly concerns me is this is exactly how the last map started, if you remember. Down 1 Kia, took the first 2 rounds, G2 found the third, and from there, the game just steadily ran away from them. Not all suggesting it's going to follow that directly, but NIP in that round, I think, know what would have gone wrong, had the chance to have that discussion, because let's not forget again, they're the ones fighting for a lot more in this game.
And they're moving back to a site that we saw them defend very well as well. Muzi and Pino completely shutting down the attack of G2. G2 made good progress. They got themselves established in blue. They were able to push into sight, but it's just that core of the defense, and that core looked a lot like Pino with the mute shotgun, and that's exactly what they're going to face up to again. So it's something that they need to be aware of. If you're pushing into church, you're likely to run into this man, and he is an absolute demon in those short-range engagements. The triple kill that he pulled out last time showing exactly that. Now Muzi, wondering where he is off. Is there going to be a little peek coming out from him? He's gone up to the top of the blue stairs. He's not going to go as aggressive as peeking that kennel window to try and catch anybody out. Good job that he didn't, as Citizen is well alive to that potential danger. Takes his shots, but Muzi is still at the top of those blue stairs and could look to get aggressive here if the entry comes on in, which it's not going to, as Citizen moves away and he's going to draw an understock door.
Remember yesterday when we had Rin stood against that window in blue? Just waiting.
Stood faced right up to it.
Yeah. We thought it was for the sound light side of it, which I completely understand as well. Stand there and hear the sound on what's going on outside. Pass the info back to your team. 2, 3 players on the rappel. Hearing these gadgets there, we know roughly what's going on. We did suspect for a second it might be a jump out, but there were no panels broken out, so a bit tough to do that without first indicating to the enemy team what it is that you're thinking about doing. Zofia, or at least Yonka in this case, in the tried and tested Zofia position, pushing down inside of blue because you have a bit of utility you can burn through to blow through those ADSs. Already a bit of a back away coming in for the defending Jaeger. As potentially Oil is the one now being threatened by Hungry.
Muzi manages to take out that drone, so they know exactly where he's going to be playing, but it's sometimes just that pinpoint information. We've seen it used already tonight. You get that Z ping coming in, you can land the grenades on an absolute penny. But Julio, he gets a nice nitro, pre-placed up on the rooftop underneath the kitchen. He just waits for the sledge to open it up. It's a little bit of a gamble because if the sledge hits exactly where the nitro is, you're not going to have any joy with it, but it's lucky for Julio. Bang, the hole appears just next to it. Click of the button, and down goes Virtue.
Scariest thing is that opening kill was on the sledge, the one that you rely on so much for soft destruction in and around kitchen, the hallway, for example, to make sure no one can comfortably play inside of Arsenal. But right now, if I'm an IP, I'm fancying holding around Arsenal. I don't think you really have to be forced away from this one. You haven't got to give G2 a free drop for sure, but even if they did fancy doing that, there is the capability for Pino with the C4 in hand, Kamikaze with those 3 smokes to cause a little bit of chaos.
NIP really getting aggressive so far this game. Happy to get up in the faces and to challenge. We've seen it from Muzi a number of times. Julio underneath the hatch here with the Kaid, and again just taking a very aggressive stance to try and defend Moto. 40 seconds on the clock, and G2 have got plenty of time here, and they're doing things right. Jonker moving down into blue tunnel. They've got those multiple angles of attack. That's going to help them massively. It was a great headshot through onto Muzi as well, just using the peak holes of NIP against them. I don't think they're aware that Kayak's in here. He's going to be going for the plant, and Jonker finds Psycho for a second in the round. Kayak likely to get this one down. I'm not sure that there's going to be a challenge can stop him. The nitro is unsuccessful. Julio's shots are unsuccessful. It's 3 versus 4. 40 seconds left to go. Pino needs to find this kill. Not. Yes, he will. Thought he was aiming a little bit high. Kamikaze just trying to help out from the dirt tunnel there. Kayak. He's right on side of the diffuser. Trying to hold a tight angle now. 20 seconds left for NIP to make a move here. Shots onto Kayak. Kill. 2 versus 2. But it is going to be that vertical angle. You're exactly right, Des. And it's Citizen who's on it. And he doesn't miss opportunities like that. Closes out the round. And it's a good win for G2.
Not bad, not bad. I mean, I said for a while, well, they've got C4s, they've got smokes, they can fight against this. But the one factor I didn't really account for in saying that is the Yonka factor. That push up blue from the Zofia, 2 kills found, the Maestro going down, completely ruining any kind of east side control that NIP had inside of Arsenal. Even Dirt couldn't step out because Yonka was sat there holding that longer angle. Really big key round from him that brings us up to 2 apiece.
NIP going to double down, head down to Church and Arsenal again. Obviously confident that they can get a different result out of that one. But yet again, Clubhouse could be slipping away from them. 2-2 now as G2 having a much better time on the attack. And if this doesn't go their way and we see them leave the Mexico Major at this point, there's going to be questions asked about that map choice. There's obviously going there again after losing to Damwon Kia yesterday, and I mean that in the sense of going there against Damwon Kia again on the second map, let alone coming here and pushing through to Clubhouse again. If that costs them, we're going to be looking back at those map choices.
Just a heads up on the other stream as well, it is Na'Vi versus Furia over there, which Na'Vi are currently 5-3 up on Chalet. Map that I was really keen to see Na'Vi bring here to the Major, so I'm glad to see that that's going off there. Of course, still plenty more games to come on both streams over here. We've got 2 more games to come immediately after this, both featuring Team 1 and their run for a spot in second. Virtue almost being taken out on the spawn peak by NIP, keeping G2 guessing and hot on their feet even in the first 10 seconds of the round.
And I think that's what they need to do. They got the opening kill last time around, but it wasn't enough to secure them the round. So they need to just let G2 know that there's absolutely nowhere safe. There's no comfort here. Muzi, big kill onto Yonka there. He had a great round last time. Got a couple of big impact kills. He does take some damage, does Muzi, for the pleasure. But I'll tell you what, that's not going to matter for a second when he takes a headshot onto Citizen. Rips the man out of the server and gets a good advantage for NIP. 5 versus 3 within the first minute.
It's a good start. It's what you want. The early disruption. It's almost like some teams have been benefiting from doing that kind of thing to NIP, and they think, you know what? It's time for us to start employing it too. I thought it a little bit when I was watching G2 earlier on, actually. They were playing quite aggressive on constant when they were defending press lobby. They had 2 or 3 members hard out towards admin, a couple down inside of Visa, for example, just trying to be problematic. And I thought, I wonder if that's something they've looked at from teams like Cyclops here and thought, you know what, maybe aggression is the go-to play. And extended holds and roams aren't exactly uncommon, but it was more the volume, commitment, the number of players that were holding out there that surprised me somewhat coming out of G2.
Reasonably quick progress from the 3 men of G2 here. Kayak getting in there and opening hatches up with 1.5 minutes left to go. Hungry looking to push into blue. The problem is that NIP quite often do this, Des. They get themselves a lead. They'll have that couple of kills from Muzi in the first minute or so, and then they just sit back. They just sit back and they let you try to play into them, play into their angles, and honestly, it works so often. We've got the goo mines coming out there, just trying to make life as difficult as possible. Virtue does manage to find a kill onto Pino, but Psycho finds one of his own onto Hungry. That's the Capitao gone. Julio with a late trade onto Virtue, 4 versus 1 now. It's all going to come down to Kayak. He's got 1 minute left to go, but in a 1 versus 4 with NIP digging themselves into sight, it's going to be a big ask.
Yeah, just a little bit there. Some good shots coming out, I think, initially as the push came down through blue, but the response was there from Psycho. NIP, they're the ones in a commanding position. Fire, finding one, but Muzi swings round, finds the headshot with the 1.5. That'll be another round going the way of NIP. Only 3 and 2, mind you, so it's still staying pretty neck and neck.
It is very close so far. We're likely to see Gym and Bedroom, I think, for NIP's final sight. They had a successful hold there earlier. It was CCTV that they lost back in round 3 that just gave them that bit of a wobble that puts 2 rounds on the board for G2. So they're going to go back there and try to lock it down. I mean, they did so with a man disadvantage as well. Citizen actually got the opening kill on that round. But if you remember, they just couldn't get into cash. G2, no matter what they did, they were just held at bay by Muzi and Julio inside of cash. They couldn't get control of CCTV. They couldn't get control of cash stairs. There was absolutely nothing doing for them. So G2, question here is, do they attack differently? Do they try to push hot tub wall, logistics hatch maybe? Just try something a little bit different.
In terms of too much difference, not really a whole ton of it coming out of NIP in terms of their lineup. Again, that Frost making a return. Really leaning into the Kaid so far in this half as well, to saying, you know what, Kayak, I hope you're good with that blowtorch, mate, because there is going to be a lot of electrified walls and hatches for you to start dealing with. As you say, we'll keep a close eye on this extended hold here and see if G2 can make any further progress, because in that last round, completely shut out before the site was even a consideration.
10 seconds left.
Muzi has got his shield up at the top of the cash stairs, so I would expect him to be playing in that location again. He'll have the rotation back into cash. I mean, why wouldn't you? They had so much success last time around. It's pretty much an identical setup. Pino was over there last time as well. He's going to start out there with the Kaid. I think it might have been Julio playing on the Kaid last time, although could have been changed out. I know he plays there, plays the Kaid down on Church and Arsenal, but I think there is a little bit of back and forth between them on that operator. Now, G2, as suggested, straight over to the hot tub wall this time. I'm not saying that they're not going to look to pressure CCTV and cash. I think they probably will, but it's not going to be just the primary focus either.
No, absolutely not here. A bit of variation, I think, is probably the right call as well, given how poorly it went on the last attack of the site. Kayak doing the usual Maverick trick, line across the top, line across the bottom. The reinforcement falls away, and you very comfortably can now blow the wall out. Not really sure who's going to be doing it for them, mind you, given the fact that there isn't anyone on that side at the moment except the Citizen on the Havana. Bit of an odd pick for him. And Kayak being on the support. Virtue's coming across to help his buddies out and say, don't worry, guys, I got you. He can definitely get this wall opened up. Takes a lick of smoke damage on his way through, but job is done. And he can return back to pushing in through logistics.
Yep, Kayak has remained out on that hot tub side. We've got Citizen on the hard breach who can potentially work over on the east side, but Psycho just playing right in the middle of sight at the minute. Pretty aggressive. Jonker's going to clear more off the potential rotate from the main stairs, so there's going to be no creeping down underneath the map and moving back up there. Jonker into bathroom to try and open some vertical angles. This really is not something that we normally see. It's looking to get some aggression going on into logistics. Not going to have any joy just as of yet, but in goes Hungry with the Retero drones. Will manage to anchor it down before the shots come in. Going to open up more vertical angles, but getting opened up is G2 once again as Julio finds Citizen on the entry.
Another smoke with an FMG, by the way, Tim. I know I keep on flagging it, but it's becoming a thing. It is spreading throughout the pro scene. Kayak gatted down on his run down through the hallway. Psycho, the one to pick that one up. 5 versus 3 for G2. 50 seconds to play. A couple of red pings coming out. It's Hungry steps his way in. Yonka taken out by Muzi, not aware of his position. Virtue missing a bit of a sitter here. Hungry's in with the pistol. Can't connect. Muzi onto the double. Another round going the way of NIP. Very surely to end the half at 4-2.
Muzi coming out of the first half with at least 10 kills. There could be another one for him here if he finds Virtue, which he will. That's going to put him on ill.
Playing, well, not the only player that's playing well, but playing exceptionally well for NIP throughout the tournament. Julio, the other player with above 1.0 rating at 1.11 and a positive KD. Every other member in the range of -4 to -7 on the KD. And Pino, again, the player that we keep on looking at, currently sat with the lowest cost across the whole team. Hasn't been so good so far, and that's what we want to see stepping up. You keep mentioning the numbers, and it's great to see that it is Muzi playing well. But it still makes me nervous as who else is going to join him, who else is going to support him by putting up the numbers they need when it comes to those big, crucial knockout games. And in fact, this one you might wager is a knockout game.
It could be. If it goes the wrong way, Des, it absolutely is. You know, it could be the one where we see NIP knocked out of the tournament and Dark Zero and Dan1Key are both confirmed as being the teams out of Group C that will go through into the playoffs. A little something in my mind tells me that it's not going to be quite so simple, Des. I think NIP will probably lock this down and at least keep themselves fighting. Like I say, they're very good when it gets to the sharp end. When decisions start getting made, that's when they bring their best performances. It might not be enough here at the Mexico Major, but I'm sure they're certainly going to give it everything.
That is the most depressing part of the game, by the way. When you're a Valkyrie player, you get your camera outside, it's a good cam, that. And then someone stands there and looks at you for a solid 2 seconds, and you're like, can you just shoot it, please? Put me out of my misery and just shoot it.
Yeah, I hate it. There's something about it, though. You just can't skip off the cam either. You gotta keep looking at it just in case.
Your babies, mate.
Just in case they don't shoot it. What if they don't? What if they've not seen it? What if they're looking at the trash can behind me? This is clever though. Citizen, once they know that the cam has been destroyed, he sent another one out there, and he may well find that that one actually survives.
I'm somewhat surprised they didn't hear this one, to be honest. Surely he's not thinking about a jump out. Surely we're looking as far as the C4 here, maybe.
Why not?
I mean, he might miss his chance. They've already kind of stepped up. Oh, they did see it. Oh, unlucky, I guess.
You know exactly which window he's looking to play on. Psycho being very careful, sees the barricades knocked out. But as long as Citizen is there, he's a threat, and they need to be aware of that. The Flores just passing underneath us there. Psycho moving to safety for the time being, but they need to do something to make sure that they're dealing with this potential threat from Citizen, because you can see he's absolutely itching. He's peeking again, he's looking. I don't think he's going to go as far as a jump out, but he's certainly looking to try and get himself one. Julio will find the first though, onto Virtue, going down in the halfway point of the round. It's 5 versus 4 now.
Citizen sat there for a long time as well, only really worry and not achieve much. Some minor disruption for NIP, shooting out cameras, for example, but he's not really provided a threat. No one's really been too conscious of it, hasn't worried about it, because they know that he won't do anything too crazy like a jump out, as I said. Too many members of NIP hanging out there in which he would be traded, in which case the 1-for-1 maybe not so worth at that point, given you have the C4 in the back pocket. 60 seconds to play. NIP now need to be the ones to step up the pace. You found the entry kill onto Virtue, but thinking about the site is next step. It is number 1. Psycho agrees. Citizen finally put out of his misery after watching so many cameras die. It was his turn to hit the hay.
Took a little bit of time, but NIP just playing it safe, not rushing into that headlong. Jonker going to take an awful lot of damage. An absolute faceful from Julio there, and the contest continues on the kitchen hatch. Jonker just managing to keep his life and challenge on, get the kill onto Julio, wins out in that one. Pino onto Kayak, 3 versus 2. NIP, they're going to have to think about dropping the hatch here so they can get aggressive into sight. Pino looking, checking every angle. They've got Psycho at the bottom of main stairs. Kamikaze actually coming to join him, so it looks like it might just be a rush in through the wall. That's exactly what they tried, but Jonker, important kill from Dirt Tunnel. Pino fails to hold him at bay. He's going to just try and take a slightly more aggressive approach here as Psycho goes down as well. This is a great and resilient hold from G2 as they manage to close out the round, just keeping NIP at bay.
Bit of a spoon up there by NIP, I felt. It had the thermite with 2 smokes in the back pocket, and I thought, oh, drop those down, one inside the corridor, one on, say, dirt, and you're in. That's it. You've done the hard work. You can get the plant down. No utility comes out. They moved 2 down to the bottom of the main stairs. And you could see the plan, right? The Flores drone was being used for intel rather than to destroy anything in particular. But as that drone goes through, the Kaid steps out from inside a shirt, sprays down into the main corridor, and catches the planter who was stepping in behind the Flores drone. It's unfortunate, small timing problem. Also a question mark again around the use of those smokes on the Thermite. 4-3 then for NIP. G2 5-6 staging a small fight back in the first defensive round. See how the defense on the top floor goes up. Cash and CC, our next site of choice.
Well, it starts asking immediate questions, doesn't it? It flags that up to say G2 have got themselves a defense immediately. If they lock down CCTV and Cash here, you start straight away thinking there's a potential for overtime. It's going to come down to pivoting around gym and bedroom. If NIP can take that, you get another 4-2 half, and we're going to go the distance. And NIP can afford one overtime win, as I've said. They can't afford both games going into overtime. Those points that you drop each time it does, even if you get the win, it's only 2 points instead of 3, and it adds up over time. Hungry, not quite happy with the positioning, wants it deeper into the vending machine there.
Understandable. On the outside, I think a little bit easier to spot. When inside, given everything around it is so bright, then I guess it kind of conceals itself a bit better because of that lovely bright blue ring that you get around the Valkyrie camera.
Could mistake it for a snack.
I don't know if you want to bite into that, mate. Bit of a weird apple to pick up and have a go on, isn't it?
I'd love this black and neon blue apple.
Wow. The latest tech in Apple. New growing techniques. Why not?
Muzi going to be putting the Claymore down at the garage door then. Just preventing any runouts, and probably a good idea because we've seen that aggression up towards those external entrances and exits from G2. We had Citizen sat on a window for a majority of the last round, looking and wanting to get aggressive. You could feel it from him, but he just didn't really have the opportunity. So NIP recognising that and not going to take any risks with it. It doesn't look like they will be challenged from garage door, but interestingly, Hungry's got himself onto the window. He's going to jump out now. Out goes the Nitro. Unsuccessful. No, it's not. He manages to find Psycho next to the air conditioning units, and I tell you what, at this level of play, I think that might be the first time I've seen that one used.
A new one for you. Those are the new every single day ace. Got rid of the Flores. Those drones taken away. The ability to remove any of the defenses that might have been set up here, looking towards those potential electro claws. The Banshees no longer in existence, or just for information, as we saw NIP trying to do in the prior round. They know that one's holding up towards Logi, but can't quite get in through the soft wall. NIP bracing themselves here for a west side push, with Muzi still sat inside a spawn, playing this long angle. It's a patient game. It's like going fishing, Ace. You got to sit there for a few hours, but you might be able to catch a big one.
It will be potentially one of the biggest catches for NIP if they can get this one and keep themselves fighting for that playoff spot. Virtue looking to challenge onto that long angle. Needs to be careful because Muzi, as you say, he's just waiting. He's patiently got his rod in the water and just seeing if he gets a nibble. Virtue does have a little sniff around it, but he's going to dip away. Not going to challenge on too strongly. Gets himself back to the top of Cash stairs. 50 seconds left to go. Slight concern here for the progress being made by NIP. That flashbang goes wrong. Not going to clear out the utility. It is still successful for the nade though, so I don't think there was an ADS there ready to pick that one up. Should allow the construction wall to be opened up, which is exactly what Pino is going to do. Yonka finds a second for himself onto Kamikaze. Or for G2 rather, bringing them to 5 versus 3. Kayak ready for the drop of Muzi. Pino has to do something, can't do anything more than one kill. Hungry trading out Kayak, and that leaves us now in a 1 versus 4. It's all down to Julio. He finds one. He's got 3 to go, but he's only got 13 seconds. A man led prone, gonna take a lot of damage, gonna close him down, shut him down, kill him. It's gonna be Virtue closing it out. He's even got himself at an incline there. Des his feet up on the top of the stairs as he gets the kill.
Man's breakdancing, don't you run about. And lying down. So a little spin at the end there, the little trick shot. Not quite the full 360 in terms of the...
Go for an execute. But the point is, you don't necessarily know coming in which checklist you're going to be playing to, because you don't know what the defense has set up. Whereas on your defense, yeah, you just say, right, it's going to be plan A. That's what we're setting up. That's where you need to reinforce. That's where your gadgets are going. So yeah, it's just about that sort of pre-preparation, I think, and just being able to know beforehand exactly what's going on. G2, like I said, looking very solid so far in the first 2 rounds. This is going to be a pivotal site now. If G2 can lock this down, you start worrying a little bit for NIP, because you just think, right, where are the rounds going to come from? G2 find themselves 5-4 up. And all of a sudden, they're going back to that same rotation, Des. Can they get Church and Arsenal and CCTV locked down again? Given what we've just seen, I think they probably could.
Mildly excited about Yonka on the Clash, to be honest. Seeing if you get any cheeky kind of... Remember back, I think it was APAC Fnatic who did it first, is what I remember. When you pick up the Clash, you can basically sit and plonk your bottom down in front of a drone hole, and they can't get utility through it easily. It's normally done here on the Cash side, but of course, if you're on your bedroom side, I'm thinking more out towards the west there on the jacuzzi wall, where grenades are often rolled through to blow up the utility on the other side. But for now, at least, Yonka doing a lot of moving. More Satsil, I think, playing on those default cams. One that we saw left up in the last round, it's worth mentioning as well, on the south side of the map, wasn't shot out by the attackers, and G2 were using it to watch for any movements on the south balcony. Oh, wow. Okay, Citizen, we know you've been dying for this kind of jump out or run out, and this time, he says, forget the vault cams, forget the C4s, just get me out that door.
Easy as that impact nade onto the barricade, straight out, and gets himself the kill. Yonka, he's going to have an important role here on the Clash, and it was something that I mentioned at the beginning when we had the Monty ban. I commented on Psycho's Monty play yesterday, but particularly the fact that NIP had struggled a number of times with the shield play of Damwon, particularly the Clash, preventing access to the garage area, to the catwalk, and they took the Monty ban rather than the Clash ban. It could come back to bite them. Virtue getting a kill onto Muzi, and honestly, Des, things just feel like they're falling apart a little bit for NIP here. They're getting run out on, they're getting hit as they just run onto the garage stairs.
Yeah.
Virtue with a second from the same location. They can't allow these kills to keep raining in.
I think I know what it is, right? Shas is an absolute genius. Because think about it, Tim. On the timeline, everyone's like, oh, Damwon beat the world champions. And G2 are like, well, how can we do some damage to the team that knocked us out? We can't go and beat them, clearly. What we can do is show that actually anyone can beat NIP. And that's exactly what they're about to do here, mate. 4-4 on the board, looking to be a 5-4. Suddenly, it doesn't become such a big deal to be able to beat the current world reigning champions, does it?
Certainly not turned up for this major so far, not in terms of the sort of performances that we saw out of them, not only at SI, but through stage 2 of the BR6 as well. They were going very well. Kamikaze finds one onto Hungry, but is going to be pestered by that Clash of Yonka now. Citizen just looking for the challenge onto the window. He's absolutely itching for kills, and I thought it was Muzi at the beginning of the game, which it was, 11-5 through the first half, which is exactly where he remains now. He's certainly gone quieter on the attack, and Citizen's taking over the mantle as he tries to find kill after kill. Julio's going to shut down Virtue. Citizen, as I say his name, another kill appears on the kill feed for him, taking down Kamikaze. And Citizen, he's starting to go big now. Just feels like that frustration is kicking in a little bit, and he's had enough, and he's going to find some kills.
Okay, it's one. And the Clash is still a thing that's to consider here. Oh, he misses the whiff on that one. The Julio can still maybe win this gunfight. Going to try and rotate round. Never mind. Citizen finds him first. Would have been a 1v1 against the Clash, and we tend to know how those work out for the most part. Tim, you against the Shield. Shield does tend to win.
Generally speaking, it's not an easy challenge to make. That much is fair to say. And as we said yesterday, I'll come back to the same point. The more your side dwindles, if you're up against the Shield, the more powerful they become. You lose utility that can be used to deal with them. You lose manpower, you lose options. And that Shield just seems to grow and grow in stature. Round number 10 then, we're going to be heading down to Church and Arsenal. That is a complete defensive sweep for G2, and this could be catastrophic for NIP and their hopes at the Mexico Major. G2 now able to return to sites that they've already won on the defense. They're going to be going down to Church and Arsenal. If you remember last time, it came down to a push through the breach in the soft wall near the double door at the bottom of main stairs, often known as the Ash Rush spot, as that's what used to happen. You'd breach it with the breach in charge, and straight in you would go. Now we don't really see Ashblade so much, but we're still going to refer to it as the Ash Rush spot. NIP tried to get themselves in there and get the diffuser down, but it just wasn't happening. Jonker, particularly from the dirt tunnel, had a great game, able to shut down a number of attempts to get that diffuser on the ground. The time ticked away, and NIP could do nothing about it.
It's so far nothing massive changing on the side of G2, because why fix what ain't broken? It's NIP that have got to do something special here, because 3 rounds on the bounce is a pretty tall order to fight back from. If any more of those teasing little Vault cams come out of Citizen, the last one just got deployed somewhere around the map. Imagine we're looking for something else cheeky, because where he's been playing on it, it has been in those more aggressive spots. So here's a preview of the kind of cams that you can get from the pro teams. That one that was on the main stairs, one that G2 love utilizing. We've seen Kayak do it before. Remember one game they got away with bullying a team with it. The next game, every single round, the attacking team was checking that exact spot for cameras because they knew how much damage it had done previously.
It just shows how little information these guys can work from as well. You know, quite a few of these cams, you look at them and you think, the view's a little bit obscure. They only need to see people's feet. They only need to catch the smallest glimpse of something to know exactly where and when they need to challenge. So it just allows them to hide them away a little bit better in those tighter spots. Now, Citizen looking to aggress towards bottom main stairs. Now, the difficulty with the Aruni laser gates, we've discussed this before, Des, is they do work almost completely in the favour of the defenders. However, if you're going to try to go for a peek on a door, it really does signal to the attackers that you're coming when that gate drops down. Now, Muzi, he finds Virtue coming, shuts him down with a headshot, and that leaves us 5 versus 4, and there's plenty of time left on the clock here. This could be the start of the NIP fight back. Citizen thinking about getting himself up the main stairs, but after he gets spotted out and has to take a drone out, he thinks better of it. Moves back in. He's going to sit in church for the time being.
Now we shall look at this. Cheeky Hungry lurking up on the top floor. Normally you'd see it being like a mute or a mozzie up here, but this one is aiming to catch them by surprise for sure. There's no big heavy commitment of utility, so for NIP, why would you put the focus on the upstairs? True Stealth Roamer looking to try and have an impact later in the round. Keep a close eye on it and see what comes from it. It's Hungry. Now starting to move down main. If he times this right, there is an Ash. There is a Maverick. That is a juicy prize for any would-be hunter. He finds one. It's the Ash to start. Now the call should be there. Everyone else scatters, but Pino's there to get the trade. Not as effective as maybe he would have liked, but it's still a kill.
50 seconds left to go. Pino will continue his push down to the bottom of main stairs, but there goes Citizen once again. Kill onto Kamikaze, and that is the planter down. Right now, Diffuser is in the hands of Julio, so not the end of the world, but it just means things might have to change exactly how NIP are going to approach this site. Out comes the Toxic Babe canister, 35 seconds, that's over aggression from Jonker there. Gets shut down as Julio has jaws open, waiting to snap shut, but Citizen once again, he's going big. This is what they've needed from him. Kill onto Pino, 2 versus 2. Julio is in sight with Diffuser in hand, but Citizen, Kayak, they're going to play this patient. They're not going to over-aggress. That's the challenge onto Blue Corridor that they needed to win. Muzi got the kill. Julio gets Citizen. NIP take us all the way to 12.
And we said before this game it might be quick, Tim. How wrong we were. 1, it's us casting. 2, G2 not wanting to get knocked out, or not wanting to get knocked out without at least showing they had something to do. A little flare at the end against NIP. 5 and 5. As you say, 12 rounds now are guaranteed. We will finish regulation. That could be going through to overtime, or it ends 7-5 to either team. CC and Cash going to be where round number 11 is going to be established, where the battleground will be formed in the war of Clubhouse that has been waging between these two teams. Quite back and forth, it felt, for a while. G2 having the lion's share of the mid-game from rounds 2 up to 5. For NIP, that's a critical win to get on the board, because it shows now that there is still some fight in the LATAM side.
CCTV, it will be then G2 deciding to move on from Church, and Arsenal having taken the loss down there. Not the end of the world. They won this site back in round 8, and again, it was very well held by them. Now then, this is an important round, because if G2 win this, it's a guarantee of overtime as a minimum. So NIP, as I've already said, can have one overtime win out of the 2 games that they need. But would you rather have that in the first game and then go into the second knowing that it's absolutely 3 points or nothing? Personally, I'd rather get that lockdown now. So NIP, if they're going to do that, they need to be winning here. Valkyrie cam goes out of that kennel window. Get off that so it's not lit up blue at least. It might survive, and that could be some vital information for G2. Will it get spotted out? Julio does turn and check that area. I'd expect that to be gone now.
I mean, maybe? Sure, minutes will keep a razor sharp eye when someone next gets onto those cams. Here we go. 1, flick, 2, just a 2. I think the third one's in place there, yeah, so he did see it then. To be fair, when you see a break in a window, it's like, gee, I wonder what excuse someone has got for breaking such an obvious wooden barricade. And you find out why very, very quickly. There's always a black eye somewhere scattered out there. Consulate being the most frustrating one to deal with when they are on the outside, because those damn trees.
No opening kills as of yet. Still 5 versus 5. And again, it's no surprise. It's something that we've seen time and again at the major. When these rounds become more and more important, teams, they don't want to get overly aggressive. They don't want to push too hard and end up losing it for themselves. Pino's going to hold on to that tight angle a second longer, and he might have just had an opportunity onto Citizen, but Citizen was going soundly in the knowledge that there could be somebody on that rappel, so it would have been a very interesting fight between two of the best gunners in the world in Pino and Citizen, but this time it wasn't to be. Citizen just playing inside of that red corridor. He's just going to try and prevent any action coming in from the breach. Might have an opportunity there just to clear those Hibana pellets off as well. Help keep his man in the garage just that little bit safer, and time again that is happening.
And how long Yonka can hang on for as well, or if NIP, that's even part of their focus, because given there hasn't been too much going on in garage so far, now we're down to that 1 minute 15 mark. I'm a little bit nervous if now is where they really start turning their attention, because that's 2 minutes down without so much as a sniff in there. Hungry playing inside of oil, one playing up in catwalk. They've got 2 members ready to try and hold this down, and NIP, if this doesn't work, there are no second chances. They need to get garage control if that is their call. Citizen, the man who almost clutched it up for him big in round number 10, shut down. Psycho, the one to step up and take that one away. Julio breaching 10 kills, Muzi just on 14 at this point. Even Pino somewhat getting himself involved, but quite a game for Kamikaze overall. Somewhat expected, given his history in the support position.
This is going to be a frantic 35 seconds now. Kayak with a great kill onto Psycho. Muzi gets Jonker off the garage catwalk, so that leaves NIP with the access that they should need. But there is a lot of work to be done. Kayak is down here, so it's effectively 2 versus 4. NIP have got to win this. Pino with a big fight manages to win it out onto Virtue, but Hungry, he's going wild. He's hungry for more. He's looking for every kill he can find. 2 versus 2, but Muzi going to be an interesting 3 minutes, that much is for sure. The best G2 can hope to do now is stretch NIP as far as possible and just make their lives difficult. Just as a reminder for anybody who's joined since the beginning of the game when we spoke about it, if you're wondering what NIP need to do to keep themselves alive here in the Mexico Major, they need to win this game. They need to win the next game against Dark Zero. They can have one of those as an overtime win, but the other must be a 3-point win. They need 5 points as a minimum, which would take them on to 9. They then need Damwon Kia to beat Dark Zero. That has to happen. If Dark Zero pick up any points, then they will go through. NIP, they really need to get this done.
I look at those overtime losses they've got and know that is so heavily swinging that second kind of matcher. When it comes round to a tiebreak, it goes, of course, onto the match win percentage and then the round win percentage. They've still lost 3 and only won 1 in overtime. So sure, you can win 2, you'll still be sat at 3-3. Dark Zero sit at the point where they are 2-1. So yes, it's going to come down to every single detail to see which 2 teams make it out of this group. It is one of the 2 competitive ones on this final day. As a reminder, the other is Group. I'm looking here. Group D is still quite competitive, but Group A is the other one where Cyclops and Team 1 are still the undecided factors in that. And those 2 teams play each other in the final Playday or final game of the day. But first, Team 1 face off against Sonics next here on this stream.
We move into the action phase of round 12 then. We've got early aggression, and you can guess who it's out of. We see the Malusi icon on the screen. It's Citizen running out again. Just seeing if he can get himself... Of course it is. Seeing if he can get himself an early pick. Won't be successful. No damage done to the side of NIP. They're playing this particularly cautiously. They're not going to give away anything easily. Kayak takes a lot of damage there. I'm not sure exactly what the cause was, but he's down to about half HP.
Wondering how the round pans out. Knowing that as it breaks down into it, there's a focus on this west side. It was NIP on the defensive side who caused a lot of headaches for G2 by hovering out towards that Cash CC side. No such real attempts from the side of NIP to get that attack on, instead focusing on the logistics hatch again, focusing on this west wall, and likely at some point in the round they will want control of that south balcony. But you don't necessarily have to clear out Cash to be able to do that. You can just have someone sit and contest the window. Hungry with a C4 in hand, waiting for that wall to get opened up. Seeing a bunch of C4 flying in this round out towards this breach, but none really connecting onto the ideal target. If Hungry can alley-oop it out, if he does right now, essentially gets away with 2.
The breach is open. NIP have got access. Pino moving over there as well. I'm a little bit concerned for NIP here because they're really stacking up Des, and that could cause them a big time problem. It could just be a couple of bullets from G2 that just rain down on them and take kill after kill and stop them getting in where they need to be. Pino looking to just pressure onto construction and logistics as well. He's going to drop down, just being cautious, not going to get a view onto a man. G2 playing this relatively safely, not getting too aggressive after that early attempt from Citizen, but saying that, Jonker looking to potentially, no, he's aware. He's looking towards Pino. This could be catastrophic for NIP. They certainly don't want to lose the entry kill here. Pino just sneaking, trying to see if he can get a little view into logistics, but he needs to be careful because as soon as he approaches this breach, Jonker is just going to shut him down.
Okay. It's gone on now for about 2 minutes, Tim. Barely a bullet fired. Kayak looking a bit low, and finally the shooting begins. The C4 comes out. Muzi finds Jonker into a second for Psycho. It's blue, it's orange, it's blue, it's orange, but it's all on Citizen doing the work in the round of 3 versus 2. Hungry finding another. The 2 versus 2 is overtime on the way for us, Tim, because it's starting to feel like it. 20 seconds on the clock. This side of NIP have got to make this happen.
It is now or not never, but they don't really want to go to overtime. 15 seconds, diffuser collected, so that means they can potentially put it down, but Hungry puts them down. One puts them down. No, he doesn't. Citizen it is to finish it off, and this is going into overtime. G2 are giving NIP nothing easily here.
That is so serious because, again, what it does to the points that NIP are earning, they'll be kicking themselves because for the 3rd game in a row, they have taken a team they felt confident in beating to Clubhouse, and for the 3rd time, they have gone to overtime. The only 3rd thing missing here in that pack of 3, Tim, is do they lose for a 3rd time in overtime?
Well, history would suggest that Clubhouse overtime hasn't been their strongest suit so far. Damwon Kia able to best them twice in the 15th round and then in the 14th round, doing it even better the second time around. I'm sure that NIP have learnt something from that. They certainly need to have done because they need to be applying it right now. It is as simple as this. It's down to 3 rounds. If G2 come away with the win here, then NIP are done as far as the Mexico major is concerned, and you just know that that is not what they want, especially not after such a good win at the Invitational. They want to follow it up. They want some international dominance, Des.
Oh boy, oh boy. I mean, G2 definitely can't go out of groups here. They have the opportunity to shut NIP out here and now. That's what makes it so dicey, so uncertain.
10 seconds to go.
See if they can do it in what shapes it to be another small best of 3. NIP the ones on attack to kick things off. G2 carrying on where they left off. Citizen the one starting on the Valkyrie. You know what that means, Tim? That means cameras outside the map. It means aggression. It means trouble. All the usual stuff that we're used to seeing from Citizen. Not rocking up on the Malusi with the impact nades onto the meat doorway this time round. Instead relying, as mentioned, on that C4 and on the cameras.
20 seconds in, and we have got NIP on the drones, trying to find as much as they can out about this defense of G2. Their lives, their position in the tournament very well could depend on it. They need a strong start here. They need to come in with one of those big openers that we've seen. They need that magic moment from Muzi. They need him to be the human Uzi. They need Pino to come in and just have that flurry like we saw in round 1 when they were on the defense and they just absolutely swept over G2.
Camera.
There is the camera.
They always know about this camera.
But they're not going to do any damage.
One of their favourites. They love having it there. They've just seen them walk down these stairs. And the entirety was kind of surprised. No C4 came singing out. Both were waiting. They knew it was coming and they read them like a book, Tim.
Jonker finding the kill onto Muzi, as you say, well aware that he was coming down the main stairs and ready for the fight. Virtue onto Psycho. It's starting to fall apart for NIP. You just wonder how much further can they bring this back from. There's got to be that mental block, knowing exactly what happened in the 2 overtimes yesterday. Kayak finds Julio. G2 are doing it. It's too little too late for them in terms of the tournament, but they're at least playing for pride. They're at least showing us that they're capable of beating the current world champions in NIP. There's 1 minute 20 left to go. Kamikaze, Pino, they've not quite got all the hopes of NIP on their shoulders. There is another round that G2 will need, but it will be 1 foot in the grave if they don't win here.
Kamikaze might have to live up to his name and go a little bit crazy here as we get into the dying moments of the round. 60 seconds now starting to play out. They have got the time to take it ever so slightly slowly, but it's a 2 versus 4. And look at the health bars, by the way, on G2. 3 players have been in gunfights here, and they've won every single one. C4 shot out of the air, the advantage of land, but it also enables a quicker peek to come in. That is one hell of a flex shot from Kamikaze, but Hungry gets the kill, moves G2 up to match point. They may yet be the wedding crashers for NIP here, and all they need is 1 more round.
1 more round to spoil the party and to end, or certainly start the end of that LATAM dominance, which could be short-lived. We had 4 teams as the semi-finalists effectively in the final stages of SI 2021, and right now we're looking at potentially only having 2 go through to the playoffs here at the Mexico Major. It's going to be Furia and Liquid at this rate that are carrying the banner for LATAM, as NIP are just unable to find a way around G2. G2 able to just shut them down time after time in the second half of this game.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Oh, it wouldn't be the Mexico Major without a little bit of drama on the final day of the group stage, Tim.
Oh, it's been nothing but drama today. It's been great.
Back and forth, mate. Back and forth. It's the way that it should be. Let's see then how potentially the final round plays out, whether or not G2 can string together a successful attack or if NIP have a response. I'm looking at you, Hungry, on that Capital. Seen it a few times today and the effect that it brings. The smoke span really helping to get a good, decent plant off. But on the other side, looking towards the smoke, of course, the 2 C4s coming out from the side of NIP, and the potential for someone to be playing on the downstairs to deny with C4s later into the round.
5 seconds remaining.
Pino just working on that rotate, getting himself into bathroom. We've seen him play here a couple of times. We've got everything stacked up. If we remember, at the point, this was NIP's best defense stairs. Holding on to Cash and Cash stairs was just, it was beautiful from them. It was a textbook hold of this area, but then G2 came back and attacked here again, and they managed to work around it. They went an alternative way. They tried to push in through the hot tub wall instead. NIP was still able to lock the round down, so they've got 2 successful defenses here, 100% record inside of this matchup. So hopefully for them, at least for the NIP fans, they're going to be able to hold on to this again. The ADSs are absolutely stacked up to try and keep Muzi in his location. It all comes down to the next couple of minutes. G2 could spoil the party here and now, or we could go to 15. I'm not sure how much more of this the nerves of the NIP players can take.
Well, thankfully for them, Tim, we've only got about 2 more minutes of nerves to endure, and it will all be over like a bad dream or a nightmare that's just getting underway. Time will tell which way the compass falls as to whether it will be that nightmare fuel or it'll be elation and a sigh of relief that they are still in with a chance, albeit a slim one.
Still in that droning phase for G2 as they're trying to gain information. We often see that around the halfway mark, you get that initial droning, you get the entry, you get into the map, start taking control, and then everybody settles back, gets back on the drones, and starts to find exactly where the defenders are, because you're now in a position to start doing something about it. If information is fed into Citizen, for example, Psycho sat still, and it could be and will be the death of him as the grenade lands, and that is the first blow to the hopes of NIP. But here comes Julio with a sucker punch of his own, finding a headshot onto Kayak and just bringing them back into it. 4 versus 4. Out comes another nade, surely not from Citizen. He's looking for a second. Julio is on a hard surface. He's absolutely fine in there, but that is now the utility expended from the Iana. 50 seconds left to go, Des. It's all about this. There we go. Out comes the second attempt. It's not Julio he's looking for, I don't think. There we go. It's not going to be successful. Muzi down in the basement. How's that rotation going to pan out? Is he going to hit them hard on the flank?
Oh, but the fire gets locked in the animation. Pino cut down from the south window. That's what you want to see. Coming out of Yonka, stepping up onto the 2 in the round, but it's a 3 versus 3 whilst G2 started off with a good advantage. NIP have fought their way back. Is it enough? No, because why are you walking out the smoke, Julio? Hungry finds one for himself. A 3 versus 2. 15 seconds to rotate smoked off here to give some coverage. Goes for the bench, goes for the plant. Muzi needs to make a move. 17 kills, but can he stop it all? He sees the man going for a plant, finds one. Can he get another? No, he can't. Hungry with a kill. They shut down the NIP dreams and they may be on the plane home, but they take down the world champions with them, dragging them headfirst into hell.
They certainly take them with them for company. That much is for sure. G2 coming in with one.